Coming up on Torrance Today, Students and Government Day is back. We'll take you behind a tour that our 8th graders took, from City Hall to Council Chambers. Another group of young learners show us what it's like to be at the Torrance Unified School District's GATE Conference. And check out these drone shots from the Torrance Police Department. Officers share how important these devices are in responding to crime across the South Bay. All this and more coming up right now on Torrance Today. Welcome to Torrance Today. I'm Christine Lee. It's 4 p.m. on Wednesday, April 27th. I hope you're wrapping up another good day. Thank you so much for joining us. Here is our first story. Students and Government Day returned to Torrance this year in person, bringing together 16 8th graders for an unforgettable trip to City Hall.
I guess I just found it really interesting how so many people are needed for the city to just run properly, and that it's not just one person, it's not just the mayor keeping track of everything, everyone works together.
The 16th annual event allowed the young participants to discover what civic engagement means and see how local government works. These middle schoolers were selected from a pool of more than 400 applicants. They spent yesterday learning about different careers in public service. The program included a tour of various divisions within the Civic Center. They shadowed the mayor, the council members, and the executive staff in their jobs. And the day ended with a simulated city council meeting led by the students, who helped conduct official city business, such as reading proclamations for National Teacher Day, Municipal Clerks Week, and Public Service Recognition Week. Participants came from schools across the city. City leaders hope they left with a renewed interest in becoming civically engaged in the future and even considering public sector careers when they get a little older. Gifted learners at the Torrance Unified School District attended the 7th annual TUSD GATE Conference to gain insight and support for their learning abilities.
We did a watercoloring activity where you picked 6 of your favorite colors in watercolors, and then you wrote a description for each of them of a memory or something that it reminds you of.
I did the creative writing class, which I thought was really fun, and it inspired me, and I got new story ideas. And I also did the bubble making and cup stacking, like basically building the tallest building you can with 100 cups.
This is the first time I've been a part of something like this, so it's to see this many families and the eagerness that they have, and just all the different levels, like from elementary up through the middle school, and yeah, the sheer number I think is impressive.
This unique event took place last Friday at West High School, where some of the students there volunteered to help the group of 3rd to 8th graders. As you heard from the participants, the conference included a lot of activities that required thinking outside the box. Families also got to choose their preferred sequence of sessions. This event gave the audience a look at how giftedness is defined in California, and also provided them with the opportunity to investigate the academic and social emotional needs of gifted learners. We're in the middle of National Crime Victims' Rights Week. It's a time when communities across the nation are encouraged to honor victims and the professionals who support them. I checked in with the Torrance Police Department, who shared a few recent incidents where technology helped them out on the field. They posted this drone footage from Saturday on Facebook. The TPD drone team and other officers assisted the Redondo Beach Police Department in locating a suspect who committed a theft at the South Bay Galleria. The drone team helped other officers to move in and take the suspect into custody. Police say their drones have been a game changer for law enforcement. Here's an example of a drone helping the fire department. These devices also assist with conducting search and rescue missions, locating missing people, and helping other city departments with building projects, overview videos, and site surveys. Police shared another recent incident when they responded to a call regarding two people who were spray painting rail cars on the train tracks by 190th Street and Hawthorne Boulevard. Police say they attempted to flee, but the TPD drone team caught up with them, and both suspects were quickly apprehended near Challenger Street and Prairie Avenue, just over a mile away. In this case, police thanked a vigilant community member for calling them immediately after witnessing the crime. The Torrance Police Department has been asking community members to say something when they see something. This has become especially important when involving catalytic converter thefts or retail crimes. Police say they're much more likely to catch someone if a crime is reported right away versus waiting for hours or even days. They say if anyone sees anything suspicious or if they witness a crime, call them immediately at 310-328-3456. The Torrance City Council met last night to conduct city business. Resolutions were read recognizing 4 dedicated city workers from the community development and police departments upon their retirements after more than 20 years of service each. Council members approved the agreement between the LA County Metropolitan Transportation Authority and the City of Torrance for selling and loading the Transit Access Pass or TAP fare. They also appropriated and awarded a contract services agreement for the purchase and installation of an audio-visual system for the Mary Kay Giordano Regional Transit Center. And Council adjourned the meeting in memory of former Fleet Services Director Ralph James Ishmael. Ralph moved to California after graduating from high school in Oklahoma. He loved cars from a young age, so it was a dream come true for him to make a living working on automobiles. Ralph joined the city as an equipment supervisor in 1980 and rose up the ranks to become the Fleet Services Director in 1987. He was instrumental in several projects throughout the years. For example, he helped the Torrance Transit Division transition their fleet to alternative fuel vehicles. He also assisted with the creation and opening of the compressed natural gas fueling station in 1995, and he designed the Torrance Police Department SWAT van and helped make the DARE program van a reality to educate children about the danger of drugs. He retired in 1998. Ralph was a longtime Torrance resident, raising 5 daughters here with his wife Madeline. Ralph passed away on April 20th at the age of 86. Condolences to his family and many others who knew him. You can watch complete replays of last night's City Council meeting on our website, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, right here on City Cable. We're getting some disturbing news today about how many kids actually had COVID-19. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 3 out of 4 children have been infected with the coronavirus, and more than half of all Americans had signs of previous infections. Researchers studied blood samples from more than 200,000 Americans and looked for virus-fighting antibodies made from infections, not vaccines. They discovered that signs of past infection rose dramatically between December and February when the Omicron variant surged throughout the country. Signs of prior infections jumped from 34% to 58% during that time for Americans of all ages. But the most striking increase was seen in children, with antibodies rising from 45% to 75% over the same period. The study also found that the older people were, the less likely they were to have evidence of past infections. Researchers say this could be due to the fact that older adults have higher vaccination rates and are more likely to take other COVID-19 precautions, such as wearing masks and avoiding crowds. The test that showed how many people had previous infections can detect antibodies for 1 to 2 years after infection and possibly even longer. While studies have shown that previous infections can protect some people against severe disease and hospitalization, CDC officials stress that those who recovered from the virus should still get vaccinated. Well, there have been a lot of back and forth regarding mask mandates over the past few weeks, and public health officials in LA County are helping us to understand where masks are currently required. Everyone, regardless of vaccination status, must wear a mask on all forms of public transportation in LA County. That means all indoor transportation hubs, such as airports and train stations. Masks are also required in healthcare and long-term care settings, as well as at adult and senior care facilities, shelters, and cooling centers. Masks are not mandated, but still strongly recommended on airplanes and at businesses such as retail, restaurants, and theaters. They're also recommended at state and local government offices, as well as indoors at K through 12 schools and daycare centers. To learn more about masking recommendations, visit ph.lacounty.gov/masks. A water shortage emergency was declared in our region for the first time ever, and millions of people will be affected. The Metropolitan Water District of Southern California implemented an emergency water conservation program, restricting outdoor watering to 1 day a week in parts of LA, Ventura, and San Bernardino counties. The restrictions take effect starting June 1st. The agency says this affects roughly 6 million residents and comes at a time when a third of the area faces an emergency because of reliance on severely limited NorCal supplies. The Metropolitan Water District uses water from the Colorado River and the State Water Project to provide the resource to 26 public water agencies. They in turn provide water to 19 million people, or 40% of the state's population. But with record dry conditions, the water supply has been dwindling in the state's major reservoirs and is at a record low. That means the agency doesn't have enough water to meet demand. The Water District says besides cutting out outdoor watering to just once a week, all SoCal residents and businesses need to save up to 30% of water use due to the current situation. The agency will monitor water use, and if the restrictions don't work, they may have to order an all-out ban on outdoor watering as soon as this September. Water suppliers failing to comply could face big fines for exceeding their monthly allocations. Not good news, as California is experiencing one of the driest starts to spring in decades. On to some more positive news. NASA astronaut Jessica Watkins made history today by becoming the first Black woman to ever serve as a crew member on the International Space Station.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff. Go Falcon. Let freedom ring. Godspeed.
As a proud UCLA graduate, I'm also happy to share that she is a fellow Bruin who received her doctorate degree in geology from our alma mater. Hawthorne-based SpaceX launched the mission from Cape Canaveral in Florida at 12:52 a.m. today. Watkins and the other 3 members of Crew 4, the 4th operational crew launched by SpaceX to the station under a contract with NASA, flew aboard a new Crew Dragon spacecraft called Freedom. The crew will spend 6 months on the space station, making Watkins the first Black woman to serve extended duty in outer space. The Biden administration is doing away with incandescent light bulbs in a move to save energy and benefit Americans. The Energy Department outlined new rules that would require manufacturers to sell energy-efficient light bulbs to modernize the practice of selling light bulbs. The alternative LED bulbs last 25 to 50 times longer than incandescent bulbs. Last year, 30% of bulbs sold in the U.S. were incandescent. The new rules will ban the sale or importing of such bulbs starting January 1st, 2023. Once the new rules take effect, consumers nationwide are expected to save $3 billion a year on utility bills. This move would also cut planet-warming carbon emissions by 222 million metric tons over the next 30 years. Advocates are celebrating the change, calling it a victory for both consumers and the climate. More than 120,000 pounds of ground beef products are being recalled nationwide due to a possible E. coli contamination. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says Lakeside Refrigerated Services is facilitating the recall after a problem was discovered during a routine test of imported products between February 1st and April 8th. Products in the recall have the establishment number 46841 on the inside of the USDA mark of inspection. Customers who purchase these products are asked to throw them away or return them to the place of purchase. Well, still ahead, a local restaurant becomes a hot topic on TikTok, leading many people to ask, was that always there? We'll show you what we're talking about when we come back in 60 seconds.
Get it. Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Is she gonna get it, Daddy?
She'll get it. Get it. Get it.
When you bring home a Goodwill find, you give your whole town a reason to celebrate because you're also funding local job training and placement programs in tech, healthcare, and more. Goodwill. Bring good home.
At the end of every episode of Torrance Today, we want to leave you with a positive story from our community that fits the theme for the day. Let's make today a Wednesday wonder. Apparently, a lot of people on TikTok had no idea that King's Hawaiian is actually a restaurant in Torrance.
Can't believe I never knew this existed. King's Hawaiian Restaurant in Torrance, CA. Fresh baked Hawaiian rolls at MG. Fish. Birthday celebration.
This video was viewed about 4 million times, and many people who watched them were also mind blown. Well, the King's Hawaiian Restaurant and Bakery, located at 2808 Sepulveda Boulevard, has been around since 1988. My favorite part about this place, besides the food, is the giant pineapple when you walk in past the bakery section. King's Hawaiian offers a lot more than just delicious bread. It has many Hawaiian dishes for customers to enjoy. I love the spam musuvis, the fried rice, the mixed plate, the furipoke, the list goes on. And then there are the desserts. My family almost always celebrates birthdays and other holidays with paradise cake and sometimes the dobash cake as well. By the way, there are 2 restaurant locations. King's Hawaiian, the local place, bakery, and cafe, is a smaller version of the restaurant in North Torrance on Western Avenue and 186th Street. I like to grab mochi donuts here, as well as the Hawaiian breakfast burrito and a breakfast plate with Portuguese sausage. And by the way, King's Hawaiian is hiring right now. If you want to go there every week, there you go. Please help us pass on this information to anyone who still may not know. Well, that's our show for today. Let us know if you have a positive story to tell. You can always email us at torranceToday@torranceca.gov. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with more news from and for our Torrance community. We'll see you next time.